Tonight, when you fall asleep, something extraordinary will happen. Your brain will generate an entirely alternate reality, complete with people, places, emotions, and events. You will believe it completely while it is happening. You will feel fear, joy, love, and terror in response to things that do not exist. And then you will wake up, and almost all of it will vanish. Within 5 minutes of waking, half of your dream is forgotten. Within 10 minutes, 90% of it is gone. You spend roughly 2 hours every night doing this. Over a lifetime, that adds up to approximately 6 years of your life spent inside experiences your brain generated entirely from nothing. 6 years. And for most of human history, nobody could explain why. The explanation, it turns out, is one of the most contested and fascinating debates in all of neuroscience. And the closer scientists look, the stranger the answers become. Start with the basics. Dreaming occurs primarily during a stage of sleep called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. During REM sleep, your eyes move rapidly beneath your eyelids, your brain activity looks remarkably similar to waking consciousness on an EEG scan, and your body is almost completely paralyzed. That paralysis is not accidental. It is a specific mechanism your brain deploys to prevent you from acting out your dreams. The brainstem sends signals that temporarily suppress the motor neurons in your spinal cord. You are held still while your mind runs free. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker at the University of California, Berkeley, who has spent his career studying sleep, describes REM sleep as a kind of overnight therapy. During REM sleep, he argues, your brain strips the emotional charge from difficult memories. The events are still there, still encoded, but the raw visceral feeling attached to them is softened. You wake up having processed something that felt unbearable the night before, and it feels somehow different. More manageable. Not because the memory changed, but because the emotional packaging around it did. His evidence for this comes partly from studying people with PTSD, whose REM sleep is severely disrupted. The normal overnight emotional processing never fully completes. The traumatic memory gets replayed without the softening mechanism, still wrapped in its original terror, which is why the trauma remains so vividly and painfully present. Normal dreamers process the emotion and move on. Disrupted dreamers are caught in the loop. But the overnight therapy theory is only one piece of a much larger picture. Psychologist Rosalind Cartwright at Rush University spent decades studying what she called the rehearsal function of dreaming. Her research found that dreams are not random noise. They are heavily biased toward emotionally significant experiences, toward unresolved situations, toward things that concern you. Your dreaming brain, she found, tends to reach back into your past and pull forward experiences that share an emotional theme with something you are currently dealing with. If you are anxious about a new job, your dreaming mind might generate scenarios that look nothing like a job interview but carry exactly the same emotional signature: exposure, judgment, the fear of being found inadequate. The content shifts, but the emotional problem being worked on stays constant. This suggests that dreaming is a form of emotional simulation. Your sleeping brain is running what-if scenarios, testing emotional responses, rehearsing how you might feel and react to situations that haven't happened yet, or processing how you felt and reacted to situations that have. It is not passive. It is active problem-solving, just in a language that looks nothing like rational thought. Antti Revonsuo, a neuroscientist at the University of Turku, took this idea further with what he called the threat simulation theory of dreaming. His analysis of dream content across many cultures found that threatening events appear in dreams far more frequently than they appear in waking life. Pursuit, attack, falling, being trapped, being lost, these themes appear across cultures, across ages, across centuries of recorded dream accounts. His argument was that dreaming evolved as a biological training ground for threat response. When you dream of being chased, your brain is not producing random content. It is rehearsing. It is running a survival simulation, practicing the emotional and physiological responses to threat, so that when a real threat occurs in waking life, the response is faster and more automatic. This would explain why the most vivid and easily remembered dreams tend to be threatening ones. The system is prioritizing the content with the most survival relevance. A pleasant dream of lying on a beach does not need to be filed and retained. A dream in which a predator is chasing you through a forest might be worth remembering, at least long enough to inform your behavior the next time you walk into actual woods. But there is another theory that challenges all of these functional accounts entirely. Francis Crick, who co-discovered the structure of DNA, proposed with Graham Mitchison in 1983 that dreams are not meaningful at all. They are neural housekeeping. During REM sleep, he argued, the brain runs a kind of reverse learning process, actively weakening and clearing out redundant, contradictory, or parasitic neural connections that have built up during the day. Dreams are the subjective experience of that clearing process, the mental noise produced while the system takes out the trash. The content of dreams, in this view, is essentially meaningless. The themes and emotions and narratives you find in them are your consciousness trying to make sense of signals that have no inherent meaning. This theory has never been fully confirmed or fully refuted. And most neuroscientists now hold a more nuanced view that probably lies somewhere between these poles. Dreams likely serve multiple functions simultaneously. They may help consolidate memories, a process well documented in the research literature. They may help regulate emotion. They may help process and integrate new information with existing knowledge. They may simulate threats. They may also involve some degree of neural clearing. These are not mutually exclusive. A complex system that runs for 6 years of your life was probably selected for more than one reason. What is particularly striking is how consistent dream content is across different humans and different cultures. A team of researchers analyzing dream reports from dozens of cultures found the same themes recurring everywhere. Being chased. Teeth falling out. Showing up somewhere unprepared. Flying. Falling. Being naked in public. These are not cultural products. They are universal. They appear in cultures that have never had contact with each other, in people living thousands of miles apart and thousands of years apart. Whatever dreams are doing, they are doing it for all of us, in roughly the same way. Your brain during REM sleep also behaves in ways that have no equivalent in waking consciousness. The prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logical reasoning, self-monitoring, and critical thought, is significantly less active during dreaming than during waking. The limbic system, the emotional core, is highly active. The result is an experience that feels completely real, that is emotionally intense, but that operates without the editorial oversight that normally governs your experience. You cannot fact-check your dreams. You cannot step outside them and evaluate whether they make sense. The part of your brain that would do that is offline. This is why dreams feel so convincing while they are happening. And it may be why they so often carry a quality of revelation when you are inside them, a feeling that what is happening is profoundly significant, even when the content is objectively bizarre. The emotional intensity is real. The significance detector is on. The critical filter is not. And then you wake up, and most of it is gone. The forgetting is not an accident either. Some researchers believe that the neurochemical environment of REM sleep, which is low in norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter associated with memory consolidation, is part of why dreams are so difficult to retain. The brain may be deliberately preventing the full transfer of dream content into long-term memory. If threat simulation theory is correct, the emotional rehearsal is what matters, not the explicit memory of the specific scenario. You do not need to remember that you dreamed about being chased through a forest. You just need the rehearsed response to be slightly better calibrated the next time something threatening happens in real life. Tonight, when you fall asleep, your brain will build a world. It will populate it with things that concern you, threaten you, move you, and unsettle you. It will run simulations of emotional scenarios you have not yet faced. It will soften the edges of things that hurt you. It will clear out what is no longer needed. And then, as you approach waking, it will quietly dismantle most of what it built, leaving you with fragments, a feeling, and occasionally something that makes you stop halfway through your morning and think, what was that about? The answer is more interesting than you think.